Salesforce Lightning Web Component, Day 5. So today we are going to continue the yesterday session. Like we'll quickly go through the previous session and we'll talk about the impression update. And then we'll talk about the how to refresh a page. And we'll take another use case and we'll have a today's interview question. Now till yesterday, we have seen the program based. We have seen the program based create a record, delete a record, create record, delete record. Today we are going to focus on the update a record. Today we are going to focus on the update a record. Now yesterday we have implemented a program. Now let me open the Visual Studio. Now this is the program that we have written. This is the program that we have written where we are displaying the data table of the contact, first name, contact, last name, contact, phone, contact, email. We are getting it from the Apex. This is the class name and this is the method. We are getting into the get con list and it is @wire and we are storing in the one property which is called as a contacts. So in this contacts, what are the data is stored? We are passing to the lightning data table data contacts.data. Contacts.data. Now if we look at the developer console, now if I try to execute this, now this is how the data is visible. This is how the data is visible. Now if you look at this page, it is similar like the page that we have in the Salesforce. Like if you look at the contacts, what are the contacts is displaying? Similar like a contact page, it is displaying here also. Now, in case if you want a inline editing, here inline editing is not available. Inline editing is not available. In case if you want a inline editing, how can we do that? So in order to do the inline editing, go to the JavaScript and here after the wherever we are building the column, type equal to text, comma, editable, colon, true. For example, I'm making a first name is a editable true and also last name is also editable true. Editable true. Last name also editable true. Now I'm making it as an inline edit for the two of them. One is the first name, another one is the last name. Right now, if you look at the existing one, if I hover the first name or last name, the inline editing icon is not displaying it. The inline editing icon is not displaying it. Now I have, in order to make the inline editing, I am using the editable colon true for the first name, last name also editable colon true. Now let me deploy this. Control-Shift-P. Right click, deploy this source to org. Now, let's go ahead and see that. Let's refresh. Now, if you hover it, it is showing the inline editing. If I hover this, it is showing the inline editing. Now, if I change anything here, okay, here the name is not there. Now, if I say Pat, but where is the save button? Now, this is not updated. Now, it is, I have edited this, but it says Pat, but there is no button. Okay, below it is showing a button. Click on save. Once it is saved, let me go back, refresh this page. Now, still it is not updating. Still it is not updating because we have not written the logic to update. We have not written the logic to update. The save button is showing it, but we have not written the logic to update. In order to return the update logic, so for the update logic, we have to use the update record record API dot then dot catch. Similar to the one which we have, similar to the create record, similar to the delete record, update record, you have to pass the record API dot then dot catch. Dot then dot catch. Along with this, you have to do one more step. You have to import the Lightning UI record API. You have to import the Lightning/UI record API. So import update record from Lightning UI record API. Lightning UI record API. So this is, you have to do the import of the update record from Lightning UI record API. Because in order to update, I just need a record ID. That's it. In order to get the record ID, first you need to do the import of UI record API. So which sits into the Lightning. Now let's go ahead and do that. Now here you need to have a import. You can give any name. Right now I'm giving as a update record. Update record from Lightning/UI record API. UI record API. Now this is the import. Now after the import, now I do not have any function. When should I need to save it? When should I need to update the record? Now this is the export. We have written this to catch the method output in this. But I do not have any method. When should I need to perform a update action? So what I'll do is I'll go to the Lightning program HTML. Now here I'm going to introduce new attribute is called on save. That means whenever the user click on a save button, where is the save button? Save button is whenever I try to edit any field here. If I click on inline editing at the bottom, for example, I'm writing here. Now, as soon as that, here is the save and cancel button is coming. But on save button, I need to update the record. On save button, I need to update the record. So what I'll do on save, then on the save, I'll call a handle save. I'll call a function here, handle. Now let's go to the handle save. Now let me implement that method. Now here is the event. Handle save event. And within this, I'll write a logic of update record. Update record. Now I need to pass the data here. And then we have a dot then dot catch. Dot then dot catch. Now while updating the record, I need to pass a certain data to the update record. Here I need to pass the data. Here, what data do I need to update? What data do I need to update it? For that, we need to have a details. Now, if you look at the UI, in the UI, I have a first name, last name. Only two are editable. First name, last name, two are editable, right? So that means I need those two fields here. Along with the field, I need a ID also. How could I get the contact first name, contact last name, contact ID fields? If I want a Salesforce object, contact first name, contact last name, contact ID, how can I get the fields details?
from the query.
Name fields from lightning schema.
Is it lightning schema or is it @Salesforce schema?
@Salesforce.
Yeah, @Salesforce schema.
@Salesforce schema. Import.
Field name.
I'll give a name later. I'm going to get from @Salesforce
Schema.
/schema / we need a contact
Field name.
first name. Contact first name. And here name should be, let me give it as a first name. First name field. First name field. Now import first name field, we are getting it from the contact.first name. Similarly, I need to get the last name as well as I need the ID, because in order to update, I need a ID also. So here I'll say last name and then contact.id. Now this is last name field. And then we have a ID field. Now I have a fields information here in the first name field, ID field. First name field, ID field.
Ma'am, name must be like that only, or
You can use any name.
okay.
Yeah. Now here in the handle save, I need to build a fields. I need to build a fields. That means whatever the above fields are there or whatever the user is updating here, whatever the user is updating in the data table. Now user is updating here. When the user is updating the data here, what I need is, whatever the user is updating, first I wanted to store in the draft. Now, for example, this is user has updated. User has updated. Once it is updated, then you first need to store it into the draft values. You need to first store it into the draft values. So let's say this is draft values. Draft values. Now, it is stored here. That means it is in the draft. It is not yet saved. Now save is here. Handle save is here. Before handle save process anything, first store into the draft value. Draft value, so that from the draft value, I'll be pushing the data to the handle save. I'll be pushing the data to the handle save. Now for that, we need to introduce a draft values. Now, how can I introduce a draft values? Now, let's go to the Visual Studio. Now, I have a HTML. Now, we have here handle save. Handle save. Along with that, we have another attribute here called draft values. Draft values. For the draft values, let me give the variable here, draft. Values. Draft values. Draft value, draft hyphen values equal to draft values. That means I'm creating a one temporary record there. I'm creating a temporary record. Now this name, it has to be the same as whatever we have. It has to be draft values, has to be same name, draft values. Now copy this. Let's go to the, save this. Let's go to the JavaScript. In the JavaScript, I'll say that draft values, it has to be draft values. Draft values equal to empty array. Initially, it will be empty array. Now initially it will be empty array. Now here is the place where I'll be storing all my updated records into the fields. Now first I'll create just a variable will be defined, fields equal to array. Now fields of, we have a ID field. ID field. ID field dot, I'm going to take a field name. What is the field name? Equal to. I need to get the data that user has entered. In order to get the data, event dot draft values of 0 dot ID. Similarly, fields first name field dot field name, field API name. It is not a field name, it's a field API name. Field API name. Dot field API name equal to event dot detail dot draft values of 0 dot first name dot first name dot first name. Here event dot detail dot draft values dot ID. Similarly, I'm going to create a last name. So we have a 3 fields, last name dot field API equal to event dot detail dot draft values of 0 dot last name. Now I have a ID field which is nothing but is equal to API name of the contact equal to whatever the user has it. For example, if it is a first name, so field API name is first name equal to whatever the user has entered, Pat. Whatever the user has entered, which is nothing but Pat, the one which I have entered there. Now, here I'll create another variable because I need to pass the variable to the update record. Const record data or record API equal to, I'm going to store all the fields into this variable. Now this variable, I'll pass it here. Now, whatever the user has entered, I capture that data and then I'm displaying that data. Now here, once the response is, that means once I have a response, that means everything is processed perfectly. Now here I'll place a alert record updated successfully. Now let's say let's save this. Now deploy this source to org. Missing a resource at the rate schema. Control S. Now refresh, deploy this to resource org. I'm missing at the, there is another one schema. Now let's save. Deploy the source to org. Now changes are processed perfectly fine. Now let me refresh the application. Now here I'm updating the data. Pad and then where is the save button? Click on save. Record is updated successfully. Record updated successfully. Now I'm getting the error. I'm getting the record updated successfully. Right? If I go and look at the record, which is a berry. Right? If I look at the details. Let me search here. Now, let me refresh this. It is updated, right? So it's a berry. These are contact records, right? Now let me do one thing. So what we can do is we can print the ID successful. Then record is successful. Then I'm going to print the ID. Plus response dot ID. Now let's save this. Deploy this to source org.
Spelling of response is incorrect.
Response. And this response has to be this. Now let's save this. Deploy the source to org. Now, let me refresh. One, two, three, four. Now click on save. Record has successfully updated. Let me open this record here. Now let's open the record. Right, it is updated. It is updated. Now that's the update functionality. Update functionality of Imperation. That's the update functionality of Imperation. Now let's take another scenario. Another scenario. Let's assume that now if you look at the UI, now let's go to the contacts. In the contacts, now we have something called checkboxes here. Now what I'm going to implement is similar like this. Let's take a snipping. So I'll be implementing almost like this. Let's assume only this information. And along with this, and along with that, I'll be having a delete button. Now this is the one, and here I'll be having a delete button. Let's assume that here I have a delete button. So what I can do is I can select this, any of the record, and then I click on the delete account. I'll click on the delete account button. So when I click on the delete account button, it should delete it completely from the contact. It should delete completely from the contact record. Now let's go ahead and implement it, same concept. Now let's go to the Visual Studio. Now let's close all of this. Now, Control Shift P. So in order to implement this, the first thing is I need to call the Apex. The logic I'll be writing here in the Apex. The logic I'll be writing in the Apex, saying that get me the five account records. Let's take account, 5 account records. Now those 5 account records I'll display here. Those 5 account records I'll display here. That means from the Apex, I'm passing the data to LWC. From the Apex, the method I'm passing to the LWC. In the LWC, I'll be doing some logic. And as soon as I select this, then it should be, and if I click on a delete option, it should delete this record. This record should be deleted. Now, the first thing I need to implement is Apex class. So Control Shift P. Let's say that I'm going to implement an account controller. Oh, sorry. Create. Control Shift P, create Apex class. Account controller. Account controller, hit enter. No, I don't want to overwrite it. It is already there, account controller. Okay. Control Shift P, create Apex class. I'll say LWC account controller. Hit enter. Now this is the class. Now here I need to implement a @aura enabled annotation and cacheable equal to true. Now here, let me delete the try catch here. Return type of this has to be static instead of a string, list of a account. I need to return the list of a account. And the method name should be get account list. Get account list. Now here directly I'll return select ID comma name comma select ID comma name comma phone comma industry from account. Now let's take it as a order by created date. Descending order, and then limit 5. I'm going to display only 5 records, limit 5. Perfect. So this is the Apex class. What we are doing here, simply, let me deploy this to the source org. Now what we are doing here, I'm simply returning the account records from the database to the cacheable. So cacheable equal to true. Let's say it's all small letters. Deploy the source to org. Okay, so now we are returning the data from the Apex. That means from the Apex, I'm querying the account record, and then I'm returning the 5 records. I'm returning the 5 records based on the order by created date descending order. Order by created date descending order. Now let's go ahead and implement the LWC component. Control-Shift-P. Create a Lightning Web component. Let's say that LWC delete account. LWC delete account. Click on enter. Now it is created a LWC delete account. Now let's go to the HTML. In the HTML, by default, it is going to display the template. Now, lightning -card title equal to descending order, which is a latest 5 accounts list. 5 accounts list. Lightning card. Now here within this, the first thing is I need a button, lightning -button. Now label equal to delete account. Label equal to delete account. On click of this, I wanted to call the method. I wanted to call the method handle delete. Now here I'm ending the lightning button. Now lightning button is the one, and then also I need to display the table. So this table I'll be displaying as a lightning data table. So lightning -data table. Inside that data table, we have a data. From where will I get the data? I need to have some data. So let's take for now data equal to. Let's assume that I have a accounts list. This I need to create it, account list, and then columns equal to, I need to build the columns. Right, and then I need to have a key field. Key field equal to ID. Right. Also, we have a few more attributes. For example, max row selection. How many rows you wanted to select it? I'll say that only 1. Okay, on row selection, what it should happen? Better I divide this. Data, columns, and then we have a key field, and then we have a maximum row selection. Then we have a on row selection. Whenever I select a row, then what should happen? Let me call the function here. Handle selection. Now here I'm ending the lightning data table. Now that's all. My UI is completed. My UI is completed. Okay, so that should be fine. Now, first thing is that I need to build a columns. I need to build a columns. Let's go to the JavaScript. In the JavaScript, let me build the columns. So columns has to be always, first I need to build the, before the export, I need to build the columns equal to this. Let's assume that I wanted to have a fields. The fields are where label, colon. I'm going to display the name, account name, which is nothing but field name is name, and then type colon text, type colon text. Now, here another 3 fields I'm going to add it. Name, let's take a stage, and another one, let's take an amount. We don't have a stage, let's take it as a phone number. Field name as a phone. Field name is phone text, and here we'll take it as a industry, and this is also industry. Now type equal to text. Now we have built the column. Now, what we have to do within the export, what is it is referring? It is referring to the calls. So let's copy this. Calls equal to, you have to give the columns. Calls equal to columns. Now building the columns is done. Now the second point is I need to bring this. I need to bring the Apex class within the LWC. I need to bring the Apex class within the LWC. Now what I'll do is, in order to do that, we'll have to import. Import delete record from so let's say that instead of a delete record, I'm going to use the get the accounts, otherwise get latest accounts. From, I'm going to build it @Salesforce /Apex/ now we have a class name here. This is the class name. Take a class name here, dot the method name, class name dot method name. We have a method name get contacts list. Now this I'm importing it, and importing the Apex from the Apex. Basically from the LWC, I'm calling the Apex class. From the LWC, I'm calling the Apex class. Now, once this is done, let me build here. Now we have a details here, right? So this is ultimately I have to use it as a @var. @var. Then I have to use. So here I'll be using the @var get latest accounts, and we'll give it as a ACC list. Now you can do directly, or else you can do directly this one, or else comma wire. But why it is not updated there? Let me do again. @var. Okay, @var get latest accounts, and then I'm going to store it into the ACC list. Now you can directly refer this ACC list into the data table, or else if you want to do this, that means ACC list of result. I need to do kind of a thing. I need to check whether the data is proper or not. In that case, what you can do is, after this variable name, you have to specify the result and then open braces. Now, whatever the result is there, first I'm going to store that data. Let's say here, wide accounts, account list, wide account list, and this is a array. Now what I'll do is, the result I'm going to store it into the this dot wide account list equal to result. I'm storing the first result. I'm storing the result into the wide account list. Next, I'm going to check if result dot data. Result has a two things, as I explained yesterday. Result has a two things, data and error. Now the result is, now I'm checking whether what are the data is there. That data I'm going to store it into the one account list. I'm going to store it into the account list, which I have taken here. Account list. Now in this account list, I'm going to store the data in array format. Now here, this dot account list equal to result dot data. I'm storing the data here. I'm going to store the data here. If it is a error, now you received a error. Instead of a result, you received a error. Now you are going to store that data. So for that error also, I'm going to create one more attribute here, error variable. So error equal to, I'll say that undefined. That means nothing. There is nothing value here. This is I'm going to do it in the, if the result dot data, if I have this, then only I'm going to store this. If result dot data has a value, then I'm going to store the result dot data into the account list. If there is any error, I'm going to store it into the this dot error. Else, I have not received the data. From the Apex itself, there is some error which we have received. So in that case, result dot error. So in that case, I'll say that this dot error equal to result dot error. Now, when we are receiving the error, that time account list should be empty, because I should not show any data. Now this is what we have done. If it is a data, and storing the data into the account list, that account list is passed there. Now, if there is any error, the result dot error, the result of this, that means the return value of this, in case if it is an error, that means result itself is the error. Result dot error, if it is this one, then this dot error equal to directly store whatever the error that we are receiving from the Apex, directly store that. Now this is, we are done with the getting the data. That means I'm displaying the data here. Columns also I have implemented. Maximum row selection, one we are doing. On row selection, whenever I check a checkbox on the specific, row, in that case, I need to implement another method here, which has a event as a parameter, event as a parameter. Now, in this case, handle selection. That means I need to know which row it is selected, which row it is selected. If I'm displaying the 5 rows, if I'm displaying the 5 rows, I might select the second one, I might select the third one, I might select the fourth one, or I might select the first one. Now, here during the handle selection, system should know that which record is selected. Now, here I'm going to add event.details, event.detail dot, we have a something called selected rows. If the really selected rows length is a greater than 0, that means they have selected it. Selected rows dot length is a greater than 0. That means they have selected it. Whenever they have selected it, how can I get the data from there? Event.detail, event.detail. We have a select rows. Only I'm going to get the first one dot ID. Only I'm going to get the first dot ID. Now now I'm getting the ID, but where do I need to store that record? I need to store it somewhere, right? I need to store that data somewhere. That means I need to have a variable here. So let's say that selected record. Selected record. Now I'm going to store that into the this dot selected record equal to event dot detail dot selected rows. Event dot detail dot selected rows. Now done. Now let's go ahead and implement. Let's see the. Now this is I'm going to copy from the existing one. Let's take some other. Okay, is exposed target. The XML file I'm copying into the LWC delete account. LWC delete account. Now let's click on it, save. Now let's click on it, save. Now let's go ahead and deploy this, see how it is working. Right click, deploy this source to org. Apex module only support the default imports. What did I give? Salesforce Apex module only supports the default imports. @Salesforce Apex /LWC/ account.
No, remove the curly braces from the get
This
account.
is where
From import get account. Good. No, I mean on the second line. It should not be in
okay,
this
so curly
curly.
braces, I need to remove it. So that is the problem. It should not be in the curly braces. So right click, deploy the source to org. Lightning button. So there is a mistake here. Lightning button. Let's say. Now right click, deploy the source to org. Now we have deployed it. Now I'll go to the LWC. I'll copy that component. Let's go to the developer console. Now let's go ahead and add this. C:, LWC delete account. Control X, save. Now, let's see that. Now, it is displaying the data. Now, we have a radio button that should be totally fine. That is the default functionality of the data table. Now, here, delete account. Now, when I select it, delete account, when I do that, it is going to give me the error because we have not yet done the delete one. Now, in order to delete that, the first thing is that in order to delete, first thing I need to implement the functionality handle delete. Handle delete. I need to implement a functionality handle delete. Now, for handle delete, whenever we are deleting it, we need to import a Lightning UI record API. You need to import Lightning record API. So that means delete record from, we are going to import Lightning /UI record API. UI record API. Lightning /UI record API. This has to be there. If you are performing a delete action, your JavaScript should be implemented with this import. Your JavaScript should be implemented this delete record. Now, once this import is done, that means this particular JavaScript should have a functionality that delete is implemented. Now I'll go to the handle delete here. Let's go ahead and implement it. Now we have a something called here delete record. I'll copy this delete record. Let's go here, delete record. Which one we are deleting it? The one which we have selected the record. So this dot selected record. Dot then dot catch. Now then if the response is fine, then you wanted to show the alert message, right? Instead of that, whenever you are deleting the record, that means as soon as you deleted the record, I wanted to refresh the data. I wanted to refresh the page. For example, if I delete this record, as soon as I delete it, my list should be refreshed. That means if this is removed, it is actually 4 records. Instead of 4 records, display the 5 records. Because I have so many records in the account, as soon as I delete IBM, Salesforce one should come here, the 5th record should come here. That means I'm always updating my table. Now, how can I implement always updating the table? That means refresh Apex. Now, how can I do refresh Apex? Now, for that also you need to import refresh Apex. Use the same name, refresh Apex. From which one we are refreshing? The Apex we are refreshing it. So if you want to refresh the Apex, @Salesforce/Apex. @Salesforce/Apex. Now this refresh Apex, I'll copy this, scroll down. Here we have a something. Now let me divide this. Now, whenever it is successful, that means I'm able to delete the record properly. Once the record is deleted properly, then I need to, instead of showing an alert message, what I wanted to do is I wanted to refresh the Apex. Now, which one I can refresh it? Where is the result? My main result is stored into the wide account. So I'll be refreshing that particular one. I'll be refreshing that particular one. Now here it is a test. In case if you wanted to show the error also, you can show the error. So dot catch. Now here we have a error. In case if you want to show the error, like a alert message, alert. I'll just type a text message, error while performing delete operation. While performing delete operation. While performing delete operation. Now that's it. We are done here. Now let me deploy this. Deploy this source to org. And what is additionally that I have implemented? Handle delete button, which I have implemented. Handle delete button, which I have implemented. Delete also has the same thing. Delete also has the same thing. Delete dot then dot catch. Delete record dot then dot catch, which is nothing but delete record try catch. Try catch. In the try, I'm refreshing the apex. In the catch, I'm capturing the error details. Now let's go ahead and refresh this. Now, let's suppose I'm selecting this particular record. I'm selecting this particular record, IBM. Let's click on it, delete. Nothing is happening. Now deleted and Salesforce 1 is coming. You just see here. Now I'm deleting the, for example, I'm deleting the test ACC, right? Deleted. Now observe this. It is deleted and my data is refreshed. My data is refreshed. Always it shows the 5 records if I have a more than 5 account records in the system. Now if I click on this Dell and if I click on delete account, now Dell is deleted, Wipro is placed into the Dell and IBM it came. Right? If I delete a new 1, 2, 3, Dell will go here, Salesforce will go here, Wipro will go here, IBM will go here. Here it will have a new record. Now let's click on the delete record. See, new record is 100 ATM. Everything is shifted. Everything is shifted. Now, any questions? Refresh, update, delete.
Swapna?
Yeah.
Yeah, the refresh apex which you've used, did we create that class before?
No. Refresh is which we are directly calling it from the Lightning. Sorry, where is it? Salesforce Apex. It's a standard LWC has given. @Salesforce. What I'm doing here, I'm telling the LWC saying that refresh the Apex. How I'm doing it? By importing this one. By importing this one. Similar like @Salesforce Apex / we are calling the LWC, the method class name dot method name. Similarly, if you want to refresh, just specify the which one you wanted to refresh. Like I wanted to refresh the, usually we use the refresh apex for the, in order to refresh the apex method. In order to refresh the apex method.
No, because we said Salesforce / Apex, no, so I was a bit confused because usually with Salesforce Apex, we use the Apex classes, no?
After apex, it is a class name. But I did not mention the class name here.
Okay.
Clear? So that's the one. So implement similar concept for the opportunity. Homework. Implement LWC component to display list of opportunities, list of opportunities instead of a limit, display everything. See what is happening. Okay, list of opportunities and allow the user to delete a specific record. Delete a specific record. Delete a specific record, and it should automatically, once it is deleted, once the data is deleted, opportunity list should be refreshed. Now this is the homework. Right? So refresh page, we just did a import refresh Apex from the @Salesforce Apex. Now, whether you can do the delete or update, whichever the one you wanted to do, you can do it. So refresh Apex, this dot, whatever the variable that contains the complete list, you can refresh that. Now, next use case is, let's suppose I wanted to search a contact name. So it should display the contact details. Similar like here we have a global search. Here. Now this kind of a search. So now, or this kind of a search. Now, whenever I'm searching here, it should give me the result that is matching here. So this kind of a program I'm going to implement in LWC. Now here, three things, what I'm going to do. Now this search, I don't know what user is going to search it. I don't know. So in the Apex, I'll say that whatever the user is typing it, get that parameter. Who is going to pass this parameter? LWC is going to pass the parameter. To Apex. So Apex will take that parameter and we will return the contact details based on this key, whatever is searching on it. Whatever the key they are searching on it. So let's go ahead and implement the Apex class first. Now let's close all of this. Now, Control-Shift-P, create Apex class. Now I'm going to create this is a search contact. Now hit enter. Now let me delete this. We are writing the method for LWC. So I need to use the Aura enabled annotation I have to use. Along with that, I need to use the cacheable equal to true. Now here, static string, what I'm going to return, let's assume that I'm going to return the contact details. So list of contact. Now method name, let me delete the try catch. I do not need try catch here. Method name is find contacts. Now method is expecting the parameter because we don't know what is the user is searching it. So LWC is going to pass the data. So it is expecting the search text. Now I can directly write here return. select ID, comma, name, comma, phone number, comma, email from contact, where first name, Okay, I cannot say equal to. I cannot say equal to because it's not a equal to. It is like a like. Might be. That means like. So instead of equal to, I need to use the like. I need to use the like. Like colon. Search string. Search string. Now, what kind of a query that I'm writing here? I cannot write a search text here directly. Why I cannot write a search text? Let me tell you. Now let's go to the developer console, query editor, select ID, comma name, comma phone, comma email from contact, where first name like, I cannot give equal to. Okay. So here I cannot do equal to like this, right? I cannot give equal to. I have to give a like. Now instead of writing it here, debug open. Okay. Now this is in the query. Now, instead of giving there, what I'll do is I'll define here string, search text, string, search text equal to, it's a AND. Now this search text, I'm going to pass it here. Right, this search text, I'm going to pass it here. It should not be equal to, I'll say like colon. Like colon, I'm going to pass that. Now this is the output. Let's say that I'm going to get it as a list of contact, con list equal to. Now let me print this system.debug, system.debug. I'm going to print the contact list. I'm going to print the contact list. Now let's click on it, execute. Now line number 2. Line number 2 is giving an error. The reason here is I cannot directly pass this like this text. Andy could be a between the name, Andy could be a this name is starting of their name, Andy could be a at the end, right? So it might be there somewhere. It might be there somewhere. So here it is starting with starting, or it might be ending, or only some data is matching, right? I cannot give completely. I cannot give like this text. If I wanted to pass it, if I wanted to pass this search text, what I need to do is here, let's take another string here, string key equal to, I'll say that percentage plus, I'm going to pass the search text plus, I'll say percentage. Now, this key, I'm going to pass it to the here. This key, I'm going to pass it there. Now click on execute. Now it is going to give me the result of the records. If I'm going to pass here instead of a key, and if I'm going to pass here search text if I'm going to pass a search text, what will happen? It will not. But this is not the right way. This is not the right way. It is giving the result, but it is not right way. So whenever you are using the like command, always use the percentage. Always use the percentage here. Percentage this side. The same thing I'm going to do it in the Visual Studio. So once I get the data, I'll introduce a string here. String key equal to percentage plus search contact plus percentage. Now here I'm going to keep like the key. Now this is the apex. This is the apex. Now we are done with the apex. Now let's go ahead and implement the LWC component, create lightning web component. Let's say that LWC underscore search contact, hit enter. Now let's go to the HTML. In the HTML, let me add the lightning card, lightning hyphen card. Now title equal to search contact. Now within this lightning card, I need to put a lightning input because user is going to search in the lightning input. Now usually lightning input is not searchable. It is just a data that is going to enter. User is going to enter. Now how can I make the lightning input as a search criteria? How can I make it? So simply you have to say here type equal to search. If you say here search, it became a search field, searching field. Now what is the value that they are entering? You need to collect the value, whatever they are entering it. Let's suppose they are entering some data and collecting in the search key, right? And then on change, because I need to get the records. For that, I need a function here. Handle on change or handle change. Now let's end here. Perfect. So now my search field is implemented. Now I need to display the data. In order to display the data, first I am going to check whether I have a data properly or not. How can I check? If true. The condition is if true, equal to, if true, assume that my variable name is a contact. Contact.data. If I have a data, then I'm going to loop through each one of them. For each template, for each. Which one I'm going to loop through? That contact data. Contact data. Contact data, and then for each will have a per item. I can give a name to it. Now, within this, I'm going to print paragraph. Whenever we are using the paragraph within the for each, we have to use the key. So key equal to contact.id. Now let's close it. I'm going to print this as a con ID. So this we have already discussed, right? For each, per item, we have already discussed it. We have already discussed it. Now key I'm passing here, key dot, and then I'm printing the contact name. I'm printing the contact name. Template spelling is wrong. Right? Right. Key equal to con.id, con.name. Why it is showing yellow colors? Okay, so this looks fine. Now let's save this. No, this is has to be removed. Now what I'm doing here, final, whatever the search criteria is there, that search criteria, I'm getting the value here, search key. Based on this search key, I'm going to get the contacts from Apex. I'm going to get the contacts from Apex. So I'm storing in the data called contact. I'm checking here. If I have a contact, if I have a data, that means contact.data, then loop through it. Why it is showing the each template for each. Template for each. First, I'm doing the if colon true. That means if I have a data, if it is a true, then only loop through that. How I can loop it for each contact.data per item con. And then in the paragraph, whenever you are using a paragraph or any other HTML within the template, as we have discussed earlier, whenever we are using the HTML template within the per each, you have to always pass the key. You have to always pass the key. Now this is the HTML that is done. Now let's go to the JavaScript. Now what all I need, search key is the one, contact is the one, and then handle change. Search key I have, so let's go ahead and use this search key. Let's take this search key. Now let me declare it. This is the search key. Now next thing is that contact. I need to get the contact. Now how can I get the contact? Before that I need to import it. Import. Let's say that find contacts from, I'm going to use @Salesforce /Apex/ my class name is a search contact. Use the search contact / then dot, we have to use the method name. Method name is a find contacts. Method name is find contacts. Search contact dot find contacts. Now whatever I'm getting it from the Apex, what I have to do is @wire. Why it is not adding there? @wire. Okay, @wire, and then get the data, whatever I am doing the import here, place that import, and for that I'm giving a contact here. For that I'm giving a contact. Now here I'm calling the method. Whenever I'm calling the method, it is expecting a parameter. Now, how can I pass the parameter from the LWC? You cannot pass the parameter from here. You cannot pass the parameter from the import. Import is just you are importing the method. That's it. You are not doing anything there. Now, in order to pass the data, it has to be done through the wire. So find contacts, curly braces. Inside the curly braces, Copy this parameter. Now paste it here. Now what data I'm passing here? I'm passing the data which is search key. Whatever the user is searching here, you are passing it. While passing the parameter from the LWC, you always have to use the dollar. You have to always use the dollar search key, and it has to be in the quotation. Dollar search key, and it has to be in the quotation. So whatever the user is entering the key, that key I'm passing to the method called find contacts method. How I'm passing it? In the wire, @wire, I'm calling the method here, comma. Within the JSON, you have to use that particular parameter. What are the parameter, exact name of the parameter, and what value you are passing it. You need to specify in the quotation along with the dollar. Now this is the @wire. Now the next step is on change. They have entered the data. Now they are entering, keep on entering. That means on change is listening. When the on change is listening, how it can listen? You have to pass the data here, event.target.value. What is the value that they are entering it? Where you will pass it? You will pass it in the search key. This dot search key equal to event.value. Now that's it. Any questions before I move on? Any questions before I move on? Now, in case here contact.data is not there, there is a contact.error. In that case, you have to build another template here. Template if true equal to you have to say contact.error. Now, within the template, I'm just mentioning the text message here. Sorry, we cannot display records due to contact.error. I'll say here, please try later. Right? Now, there is no else condition in the LWC. You can simply say that template if true, contact.data, template if true, contact.error. If you do not want to do it here, you can do it in the JavaScript, the one which we have done it in the previous one. Right? You can directly do it here. Within this, you can check it. Open after the contact, open the data. If it is a contact.data is there, then store it into the separate variable and refer that variable within the HTML. If it is an error, then show the error message. Now let's go ahead and deploy this. Deploy the source to org. What is that error? Now let me rerun again. Unable to find Apex action, search contact. Okay, first I need to deploy this.
Ma'am, in key semicolon is missing.
Okay,
In key.
right click. Now let me clear these errors. Right click, deploy the source to org. Okay, it is deployed. Now let me deploy the LWC component. Now this is deployed. Now let's copy this LWC search contact. Copy this. Let's go to the developer console. Application C column LWC search. Control S. Now click on a update preview. Now I have so many contacts here. Let me search the common one. Click on contacts. Sample. Let me search sample. Now these are the records it is displaying it, right? If I search other record, let me search LWC. Nothing is there. LWC. Test. Nobody is there. So if I type just a T, then it is displaying it. Let me add some complete body, padding left 20% and padding right 20%. Okay, so let's close this. Now if I'm typing here, it is giving me the entire list at the starting. Entire list it is giving me. Now as I'm typing here, now if I type here, right, wherever the T is available, it is giving me the data. Wherever the part is available, it is giving me the data. This is the search criteria. Now I have a search criteria only on the, it is displaying only contact name. It is displaying only contact name. But in case if you want contact phone, in case if you want a contact phone, then simply what you can do is you can use a different here. Now this is a contact ID. Let's assume that. Let me give here names. Name equal to contact name, phone, colon, contact dot phone, right, contact email, contact email. This is email. Now what else we are printing there? Name, phone, email, that's it. So if you want, you can print like this also, or else, if you want a data table, if you want a data table, in that case, what you can do is you can build a data table here, lightning hyphen data table. And for this key field equal to ID data equal to, where is the data? Contact dot data and columns. Columns is the one which we need to build it. Columns equal to column. Now let me end here. No, that's it. Now let's go ahead and build these columns. Rest all data is available. Only thing is that I need to build the columns. Now, in order to build the columns, so I'll use it here, const column equal to, what is the data that I'm going to display here? Now, label colon name, label colon name, comma, field name, field name colon name, type colon text, type colon text. This is the name. Similarly, I wanted to display the phone and email. Phone and email. So let's say this is phone. And this is also phone. And here is the email. And this is the email. Now here I'll change the type because the format will be different for the phone. And type is a email. Now let's say, no, here I need to give the data. This call equal to columns. Call equal to columns. Now that's it. Let's deploy the source to org. Deploy the source to org. Let me refresh. Okay, so again it is coming here. Either you can add a CSS. For the time being, what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this CSS directly in the page. Inspect. Padding left 20%, and then padding right colon 20%. Let's close this. For example, if I'm searching a pad. Now what is happening? It is giving me the name, phone number, email, right? If you want a division, you can add a division, line division there. Name, phone, email. Similarly, if you want data table, it is displaying the data table. It is displaying the data table. Right? Both it is doing it. Now, any questions? Second homework is implement LWC component to display, to search for lead records. When I say lead records, we have a lead name, company. The data should be displayed, lead name, lead name, lead company, lead email ID, or lead status, lead status, lead status, and what else we have? Lead status. You need to search a lead name. When you search a lead name, it should display the status, home, email, company. Search for a lead name. Search for name in leads record, and it should display. And it should display lead name, lead company, lead status, and lead phone, lead phone, lead phone, lead phone and what else? Lead email. Display the data in normal as well as the data table. Use the normal way to display it and also display in the data table format. So you need to implement normal display as well as the data table both. So this is the homework. So that's all for today. We have seen the impression update, refresh page, and also deleting an account and then searching the contact details. Searching the contact details. So that's all for today. Let me stop recording.